So we got an anonymous tip. Somebody had sent me a screenshot of this subject with a very big buck.
This person's name was not unknown to law enforcement.
It was over 3,700 pages that we got back in the search warrant. From there, we turned into like Sherlock Holmes. And by the time we got done, it was over 90 violations. So he was definitely lying, being evasive. In this case, we had so much evidence, it was easy to say, no, you're lying, and show it to him, and then you got nothing to do but tell me the truth.
Disclaimer. This program features real, fully adjudicated cases investigated by Virginia Conservation Police. For privacy, individuals are referred to as suspects, and certain details have been obscured. The content reflects the officer's personal account for outreach and educational purposes, and is not a legal record or official statement of the Department of Wildlife Resources. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Virginia True Wildlife Crime, where we go behind the scenes with our conservation police officers to get the real story behind the cases. Today, we're talking about a case in the northern neck of Virginia that unfolded into a legal drama family deep. Well, we're here with First Sergeant Amanda Neville to talk about the case with us. Welcome, Amanda.
Thanks for having me.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
So this case took months, a ton of deep diving. I'm really interested to hear about all of your information and tactics and how you really drove into this. But first, let's talk a little bit about you. So you're a first sergeant with our Conservation Police Officer Division, our law enforcement division here at DWR. Tell me what made you want to be a conservation police officer and kind of how your career has progressed here at DWR.
Yeah, so I've been here for 9 years now. I wanted to be a police officer since I was a kid. I liked being outside, so it seemed like a good combination of both worlds. I don't have to deal with domestics and radar, so now I get to focus on the animals and wildlife, be the voice for the voiceless. So it's good. It's been fun. I'm now in charge of our basic academy, so I teach new game wardens or conservation police officers how to be good at their jobs.
Nice. So you're out there getting the next generation ready to go out in the field doing the same thing that you started doing.
Yeah, pass the torch.
That's awesome. Well, so let's talk a little bit about this case. It was one of the first cases that you had when you started?
One of the big first case, yeah, it was the biggest case I've had, and I got promoted shortly after this case, so it's, in theory, the biggest case I've ever worked because I haven't done any more.
But you've worked bigger cases by deferral and the fact that you've been training everybody else to do amazing work out in the field. So
yes, ma'am. You're
setting them up for success.
Yeah, that's the goal.
All right. So the Northern Neck, tell me a little bit. You come online, it's your new duty station. What's the lay of the land like? You're expecting a normal, everyday job.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never heard of the Northern Neck until I got recruited up there to be there. So it's King George, Westmoreland, Richmond County, Lancaster, Northumberland. It's a massive peninsula, a lot of marshes, smack dab between the Rappahannock and the Potomac rivers. So a lot of wildlife, a lot of ducks, a lot of fishing, super wildlife conservation oriented community.
And I imagine not really like a seasonal transition. In a lot of other locations in the state, you've got hunting season and then you've got like boating season. Whereas this, it feels like it's all kind of intertwined.
It could, I mean, for the most part, it switches every season, but you can fish year round. So there's always fishing, there's always boating. So it makes it more fun. So if you don't want to go work dog hunters today, you can go and work duck hunters, and it kind of switches it up, gives you a little more freedom than other regions.
Excellent. So getting into the case, what was your first tip-off? What happened?
So we got an anonymous tip. Somebody had sent me a screenshot, a picture of this subject with a very big buck. So we looked it up in Go Outdoors, which is our game check-in system, and it wasn't checked in for the day, the week, anything during that time frame. Started monitoring the subject throughout the hunting season. We got this was the end of November, early December of that season, so we got a couple weeks left. We're almost done. So we monitored him throughout the rest of the hunting season. We're watching his behavior, see what's going on. After the end of the season, we did complete search warrants for all the cell phone data, phone calls, all that jazz. And then we did all the social media and all of his accounts on that as well.
Now, to backpedal a smidge, that came from an anonymous tip. So
Yes.
in reference to the cases that you've worked, tips, how important are they when they lead to something like this?
Well, they're super important because it could be, I mean, we can't be everywhere. I'm one person working 5 counties in my district. So I can't be everywhere at once. There's only one of us. We're not like the localities that have 20 officers working the streets. There's one of us. So there's a lot of territory to cover. So we rely on the tip line, rely on sources and friends of conservation that want to reach out and help us do our job, basically, because we need wildlife ambassadors in the communities to help us do our job so we can enforce wildlife law enforcement.
Well, and I want to let our viewers know that if they ever see something and need to say something, that we have the tip line in the description below of the video. Just if you see something, say something, let us know. Be a friend of conservation and help us take care of some of this stuff. Back to the case, you've gotten all these search warrants for all of this suspect's digital life. Where did you start? I imagine that was a little overwhelming.
It was over 3,700 pages that we got back in the search warrant. It took, I think, 2 months to get all of the stuff back. And then from there, we turned into like Sherlock Holmes. I mean, I had the full board and the pens and the pictures and all that stuff in our office where we just tried to map out everything to show, okay, this is what he said on this social media, and then when we check our accounts, it's not checked in for that whole week. Because, I mean, people post stuff late, early. In theory, it shouldn't be early, but late. And so we would give it a couple days grace. So that way, okay, well, there's nothing checked in this entire week. So that one's not checked in at all. So then we would just start going through and matching up pictures and information so we could show what we really had. And it was a lot.
I love this thought of the crime board. You've seen it in every crime show you've ever watched on TV. They've got it in Only Murders in the Building. You've got the murder board. Everything. It just evokes this sense of like real detective work, like old school in the getting it done kind of stuff.
I mean, you have 3,700 pages. Yeah. It was a lot, and there was no way to track it all without doing it. So it was a smattering of paperwork and pictures and stuff everywhere, and had to be organized somewhere.
So was it just you, or you had help, I assume?
No, I had some other officers helping us. Okay. It took several months. I was going by myself, and then finally it was like, okay, we're gonna run in on our deadline now. We're getting short. So we had to just sit down and dig in and go through it and go down different wormholes or rabbit holes, whatever you want to call them, to figure out like who these people were, how everything connected to the community, and where we had permission to hunt, where we didn't have permission to hunt, what's public property, what's private property.
All those imaginary lines in the woods that nobody can see, except maybe a GPS tracker or something to that effect. Yeah. When we talked beforehand, you also happened to mention that this person's name was not unknown to law enforcement.
Yeah, so it was a legacy case, and it was a good 10 years before I had gotten there. So it was a very impactful case to the community, and so the name was not unfamiliar, no.
So is it fair to say that this suspect, in the case that you're working with the 3,700 pages of data and whatnot, was almost raised in a poaching atmosphere? Like this person wouldn't have even seen anything remotely wrong with this?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
It's fair to say that.
All right. So 3,700 pages, I can't imagine that the only thing you found in there was wildlife violations.
No, definitely not. There was some drug activities. There was a lot of wildlife crime stuff, some prescription, a lot of other avenues that were turned over to the sheriff's office.
My very next question was going to be, I assume that you're working with some of the local law enforcement agencies then to tackle some of those other things, because it sounds like you had plenty on your plate as far as something that we would enforce.
Yeah, we did. We worked with the sheriff's office after I had a good idea of what was going on, a good grip on it, if you will. And so we went and I turned over all of the drug stuff to the sheriff's office. We worked with VMRC to turn over some of that stuff as well, because that's a little bit out of our wheelhouse, but it allowed us to work together with other agencies.
Always good when we can partner up with our agencies that we're out there in the field with every day. And VMRC in particular, they're starting to train with us at our academy now.
Yes, ma'am. They were in our last one, the first academy we've done joint.
That's awesome. So working together, training together, learning that once we get out in the field, we've got to support each other. Back to the giant case. Where do we go from here? You've compiled all of this stuff. What's your next step?
So I went through and made literally a massive binder of every day and every violation that we had. So it was on this day, this person says they killed a deer. Oh, if I go in our game check system, there's nothing checked in. And then they admitted to using a Mossberg archery gun, which is it's a shotgun, not a bow.
Okay.
And so now we're looking at shotgun during archery season. So we're, hunting during a closed season. We failed to check the animal in. We failed to tag the animal. We're trespassing. We're carrying a shotgun during archery season. So so I did that for every day that we found a violation. So it was like, here's what was admitted. This is all the charges. And by the time we got done, it was over 90 violations that I had found in the hunting season, just during this one hunting season.
Oh, gosh. Well, I imagine going through all of these documents, which most were public, correct? They were just,
yes.
He was just letting everybody know.
Yes.
So it's not like he was hiding anything.
Correct.
But I imagine at some point you've got to stop. You've got to find a stopping point.
Correct.
Because you have other cases, you have other stuff going on. When do you make that choice? And you're like, okay, so we're going to say this date. I'm not going to look at anything before this date because I just can't.
Well, so we have a year to prosecute misdemeanors. So that kind of put our timeline on us. Because at this point, this entire case is off of search warrant stuff. So he doesn't know that we're looking at him. He doesn't know that we've been working him for 3 or 4 months at this point. He has no idea that we're coming.
Wow. So at this point, this is all data-driven. Doing your homework, getting all your ducks in a row, just so when you go meet with him, he's got nowhere to go. Did you meet with anybody else? I assume you want to get all the locals up to speed again as well. Give them a little update.
Yeah, so we met with Westmoreland County Sheriff's Office where all of these crimes had taken place, and met with them and briefed them on what was going on. So when we went in to do the search warrant for the actual residents, they came with us. So we had a joint task force with Westmoreland Sheriff's Office.
Well, that sounds good, especially when you mentioned all the other alleged crimes that were going on at the same time.
Yeah, it was a lot. And the family had been known to not be very friendly with law enforcement. So they came in with us to conduct a search warrant for the residents.
You mentioned the giant book. So you have this giant book with all of your data, and now you're at the home, you're knocking on the door, you've done your homework. What do we do now?
Once we knock on the door?
Sure.
Okay, so Westmoreland Sheriff's Office and Conservation Police officers came to do the interview and the search warrant on the residents. And so we knocked on the front door, knocked on the back door, and he came out. We come over and explain it, and his first words were like, what's the game warden doing here? Because, this is after the season. This is several months after the season, this September, October timeframe, I forget. And so he had no idea we were coming.
You've been digging through all this stuff. He doesn't know. You've been digging through it through the off season.
Correct.
And now, what the heck?
Yeah, here we are. We pull him out, explain everything, I separate him to do an interview with him, separate the girlfriend, so we have another officer with the girlfriend, and then we have a team that goes inside to do the actual search of the residents.
Now, what were you searching the residents for specifically?
For shotguns, any illegal antlers, for all the antlers and deer he had taken out of season, any other wildlife violations that we had based off the case.
Now, we didn't mention it before. Were you just looking for deer, or had he poached any other species?
Oh, we had commercial fishing violations. We had trapping violations. We had deer. Majority of it was deer just because it was during deer season.
Is he being honest, or is he being a little evasive? What's his state of mind at the moment?
He was definitely being evasive in the beginning. I think it was just because it's, 15 officers show up at your house. It's a little overwhelming in the fall when you're not expecting any of this. So he was definitely lying, being evasive, not telling anything the truth in the beginning. But once he told the first lie and I could show him the evidence and the information that I had, and, explain that I don't just randomly knock on people's doors at 8 o'clock in the morning, like we're here for a reason. I think it kind of sunk in that, this was real, this was happening, and we weren't just asking questions that we didn't already know the answers to.
He was stuck.
He was stuck.
How, as an officer, besides the fact that you had the evidence, you had done the homework, how do you kind of know when somebody is lying? I feel like you have this extra sense, part of the training, that you just know when somebody lies, where the rest of us just get played.
We certainly get a lot of classes and training in how to do lies detection and interviews and all that stuff, like most law enforcement officers. It would be easier if it was some kind of spidey sense, I'd like to tell you that I have. It's not always the truth. But no, I mean, in this case, like I said, we had so much evidence coming in that if he lied, I knew it, because I had, I've never been so prepared for an interview in my life. I had so much data coming in here that it was easy to say, no, you're lying, and show it to him, and then you got nothing to do but tell me the truth.
All right, so while you were talking to him outside, you mentioned you had a task force, you had other CPOs with you, you had the sheriff's office with you. They're doing the search of the residence. How is that going?
So I took a break from the interview to go in and check on the team inside. So I left him with another officer so he could have a smoke. So I go inside to the house and I'm immediately warned, like, hey, don't step in front of the refrigerator. There's a carpet over a hole in the floor. And we almost lost an officer.
What? So there's a
literal
cartoon,
yes.
like a Scooby-Doo moment where somebody's literally going to get sucked into the floor.
Yes.
Okay.
So
that seems unsafe.
Slightly.
Okay.
There's full gallons of water all across the countertop because the water wasn't working. It's in a low point of the I don't want to say marsh because it's dry land, but it was in a low point of the property, and so the septic wasn't working well. So then I was also told the septic was backing up and to not go into the bathroom. So it was a lot of concerns for children being in the house. So we did notify Child Protective Services. There were some other animals in the house that were unhealthy looking. So we contacted animal control so that we could make sure every living person and being in the house was taken care of.
Absolutely. So what did they find during the search besides all the issues that you just mentioned?
It found a lot of the antlers that we were looking for that had come out through the social media posts and everything. So we confiscated all the illegal antlers. There were some trail cameras we confiscated to get search warrants for, to get the pictures and stuff off of that. There was some drug paraphernalia and other stuff that we found that was we turned over to Westmoreland Sheriff's Office to deal with appropriately.
And did you confiscate his phone or any phones that were there?
Yeah, we confiscated his phone to be turned in for a search warrant and data search. They're in there doing all of that. I step back out. We continue the interview. And he is much more honest this time now that he's had time to smoke and think about things.
He's had a moment to realize that maybe you know what you're doing, and
yeah, we're not there just to hang out.
The gig is up.
Yeah, so he was honest, a lot more forthcoming the second round, and was very helpful, I guess, being honest. I mean, this was certainly not his first rodeo with conservation police officers or law enforcement in general. And I think he understood that we were there for, the good of him and the kids and wildlife to try and break that cycle of behavior and to try and get him back on the right path.
As I'm listening to you talk about everything, I feel like the amount of hats that you have to wear is incredible. So you're a conservation police officer. You're out there enforcing wildlife crime regulations and laws, but in this particular case, with your giant binder of 3,700 pages, you're mining data, you're an archaeologist, you're everything. So you've done your homework, you've talked to him, you've got all of these charges piled up. Where do you go next? Are you going to the Commonwealth's attorney? Are you going to the magistrate? What's our next step?
Yeah, so we're a state department, but we're smaller than some of the localities in the aspect that we are the one person doing everything. We don't have like an evident tech that's going to log all the evidence. Like, we're doing all of those steps. So yeah, many hats all the time. But so the next step was to go to the Commonwealth attorney. So we went to the Commonwealth attorney. I presented her with all of the stuff we had from the data, all the stuff he admitted to, the pictures and everything, and then she actually picked what charges and which she wants to move forward with. So he found over 90 violations, several felonies to be included. We ended up with 17 charges that the Commonwealth Attorney wanted to move forward with, and then he got 17 warnings for other violations that she did not want to move forward with, but wanted it noted that he was giving a warning for that.
Fair enough. So warned now, and in case in the future at any
Correct.
point he violates again, you could bring that warning back up.
Correct.
And then some of it we were a little bit limited on as far as time frame.
Right. So for misdemeanors, we only have a year. So we were looking at the prior season. It's now September. So all of the stuff from archery, we're almost to our deadline. So we have to kind of move forward. I mean, there's so many cases and so many things that could come out of this. At some point, you have to draw the line in the sand and just say, this is it. We're going to move forward with what we have. We could keep digging all day long.
Yeah, it sounds like it. As you were going through, this person's life on social media. I know some people put everything on social media, so it could really be like this drama-filled, crime-ridden walk down memory lane for years. If you kept going.
Yeah, and it kind of led us down a wormhole or a rabbit hole, if you will. And so we had spin off cases that were related to this one because of all of the data mining and stuff we had done. So we were able to come up with other cases where people had killed stuff out of season, failed to check stuff in, felons with firearms, all these other avenues that were spun out of this one.
So it just kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it was like Alice in Wonderland. It just kept going down the rabbit hole.
Oh, wow. All right. So in the end, for what we were able to charge him with, what we worked with the Commonwealth's attorney on our angle of it, because I'm sure the Sheriff's Department and other folks had plenty on their plate. What were the final penalties?
So our final was he got a year of hunting, lost all of his hunting rights for a year. He was put on probation. He did ASAP and was done through some drug substance abuse programs. At the end of that year, he lost his hunting license for another 5 years as a part of the deal. Okay. And then he had $3,000 in replacement costs and forfeiture of all the antlers that we had seized during the search warrant.
Well, hopefully that sets in with him for a little bit. And,
hopefully.
He'll change his ways, and we won't have to see him other than on a good day when he's had a good day out in the field once he gets his hunting license back.
Hopefully.
All right. Well, thank you so much, First Sergeant Neville. I really appreciate you talking with us today, telling us about this, as you said, a rabbit hole of a case that all started with an anonymous tip and just ballooned into something unimaginable. So thanks again for joining us, and thank you all for watching. And just like First Sergeant Neville told us, if you see something, say something, shoot us a phone call on our tip line or an email, and let us know if you see something that doesn't quite feel right, and we'll take it from there. Again, thanks for watching. If you don't want to miss another episode, make sure you subscribe. And if you have any topics that you're interested in, throw it down in the comments and we'll see if we've got a case that'll line up with that. If you're out in the field this fall, this winter, make sure you're wearing that blaze orange. If you're going to be out on a boat, always wear a life jacket. Be safe, have a successful hunting season, and thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again soon.